Good morning. Only what? Nearly 2 hours late for Hobby Evolution, episode 462. This was by design. I thought I'd be only an hour late, go on at 8 a.m. this morning. But again, I just wanted to sleep in. In fact, yesterday was I just didn't want to roll out of bed. Just a lot going on. But I got out, met up with some former coworkers, watched some basketball, ate some wings, drank some beer. Good times. So I was out. I mean, it was an 8 p.m. game last night, which I'm going to talk about. So I didn't get home till like 10:30, and then you have, when you're out, you're with friends, you're out, you're at a basketball game. There's that, there's that adrenaline, and then you get home, and it's like you're still kind of riding an adrenaline high, and it's hard to fall asleep, and that's kind of where I was at last night. So I just laid in bed trying to fall asleep for an hour, and a couple hours later than normal, and it's like I'm just gonna go on whenever I decide to wake up and get going. Today's kind of one of those flex days for me. I'm not angling to list 300 cards on eBay. Today's a shipping day. Today's a card show preparation day. So I'll talk about that. I also want to rip some Panini Flux. I want to talk about last night's basketball game. I attended the Badgers of Wisconsin hosting the Iowa Hawkeyes in Big Ten action, a couple of potential lottery picks in this summer's NBA draft. Showing off on the court last night. So discuss that and in the card show tomorrow. So let's get into it. Jenny's with us. I've never heard of that product. Is it new this year? It is. It's the inaugural edition of Panini Flux. And when I go in to break this, I'll give so I bought 3 blasters on a whim. I opened one yesterday. I've got two left. I'll open one here this morning. And then I'll keep the other one for a later break, or maybe just keep it sealed. I don't know. But I'll talk about my thoughts and what led me to buy these. And my surprise when they showed up on the door yesterday. Fall Creek is with us. Good morning to you. Ken, what's up? And by the way, speaking of the mail delivery, I finally received some movement. I got into 2 breaks for Elite Extra Edition Baseball, which was released either right before Christmas or right after. I think right after Christmas, because I used some of my gift cards, and they've been stuck. So I was in 2 different breaks. And what's exciting is I only watched like half of the breaks of each, because I like being surprised. And I think a couple of years ago I was in a Bowman draft break, and I only missed like a little bit of the break, and I missed like a big hit. So when the mail came, and I didn't expect this, I think it was a Miguel Amaya auto numbered to 250, and which at the time was a huge hit. He's kind of fallen off, and he's had some injury problems. So it's like, wow, this is cool. It used to be like I had to watch like every second of the break and like be totally in tune. Now it's like I like the element of surprise. And so this is like I've been tracking, because it's like a Christmas present. The breaks I was in for Elite Extra Edition, there's some good Cubs on the checklist. So one of them has actually made some movement. Probably going to be delivered either today or tomorrow. So January 1st was the last movement on tracking, until early this morning, which is January 7th. So January 1st was the last tracking. It was processed through a USPS facility in Louisiana, which is the origin state. So January 1st, processed through St. Rose, Louisiana, and then silence until 3 a.m. this morning. It showed up here in Madison, Wisconsin. It was processed through the main Madison facility, and then it did arrive to I'm in Verona, Wisconsin, so it arrived at the Verona post office. So we'll see if it gets on a truck today. Is it going to be delivered today or tomorrow? Now, the other one actually hasn't moved since December 31st. It was now its origin is Florida, and I know the Southeast has been the postal service down in the Southeast has been brutal. I don't think Herman's with us in the live chat this morning, but I'd like to hear how his mail has been in Georgia, because I know Florida's been a mess. Apparently Louisiana is a mess. based on these two shipments. So December 31st, 2:45 a.m. was the last update. It was processed through a USPS facility in Opelika, Florida. Its origin was Pompano Beach. So that one still hasn't shaken loose. So we'll see. Um, Ken said, I would like to thank USPS for only now returning some of the Christmas cards I sent out. Oh, wow. That's brutal. Good morning, Terry. What's up? Ken, I had the same issue with December mail. And I didn't say anything, and now I feel I'm comfortable saying it here we're a week into January, and I can say it without jinxing myself. I really didn't have. I had more issues in November with items not showing up than in December. Now I had some sprinkling, but with I'm doing a ton of volume, so just a few is a blip, like less than 1%. So if I have three or four, it's very very low in the grand scheme of things. And I probably had a few that didn't show up, and I'm getting a lot of the standard envelopes. Hey, this says it was delivered, but my mail hasn't been delivered, and I need to make a form letter because it's happening more and more, where people, a lot of people aren't aware of. I mean, even the post office people, the clerks are not aware of how the standard envelope tracking works. So I may save that for another day because that's a whole new can of worms to open up. So I'll save the blaster for last. I want to talk. Let's go into basketball. Um, Actually, no. Let's talk card show. Then I'll go into the game. Then I'll go into the break. So tomorrow is the Rockford card show. Rock Church, Harrison Avenue, Rockford, Illinois. I'm excited. It's my first card show in 6 weeks. So I've been jonesing to get out, dig through some bargain boxes myself, experiment. For myself, I'm setting up. I have two tables. I'm kind of like I've been bargain box Bo with like three tables full of 25-cent boxes. I'm going to use this weekend, tomorrow's show, as kind of an experimental trial of dollar boxes, and I'm gonna bring, just because I probably won't get enough to fill two tables worth of dollar boxes. It's gonna kind of be a hybrid of dollar boxes and in some of the newer quarter box stuff. So I just want to see how that works. I'm going to drop the prices on some of my slabs, do $20 slabs, maybe take some offers if somebody wants to buy a couple. And I only have like 20 or 25. They were the basketball rookie prism slabs that I bought at the National. They're SGC slabs. So the market's really, really dropped on those. And I got them at a great deal. And I mean, the market's even dropped since the summer when basketball had already dropped. And I'm like, oh, it's going to bounce back once the NBA season starts. And it actually went the other direction. So a fail on my part with that speculation. Although who knows, things could turn in the next year. Now it's just like I just want to get rid of them, liquidate. And I got them for such a cheap price. I can still bargain box them and make a few bucks and come out ahead. Brad is with us. What's up, Brad? Jenny says, I have someone saying bad damage on a card. It's a printing production line on the card. Was shown in the scan I put on the listing. I've offered them to return it for a refund twice. I don't know what else to do. That's what you can do. I mean, number one is just communicate with them. And if they don't reciprocate the communication, then there's really nothing else you can do. It could be one of those cases where they're angling for a partial refund. I hate that. It's like, no, you either send the card back if it's my fault, like if it's something I send out and it's like, oh, I didn't see that, maybe there's a corner blemish, a ding that's pretty, obvious. It's like, just keep it. I'll refund you. There was one, and I've probably talked about this before. It was a Topps. Was it Gary V? I think it might have been one of the Gary V cards of a prospect. And the guy says there's a pinhole in the card, and I'm like, what? And so he shows me some pictures. I can't see the pinhole, so I'm like, so I had him return it, and it was like a $5 card. So I had, okay, return it, and I'll give you the refund. So he opened up a returned it. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it, I'm looking at it, I'm looking at it, and I can't see any blemish. And so I message him and I'm like, hey, I'm looking all over this car. He's like, oh, it's above the shoulder. He's like, you need a magnifying glass to actually see the pinhole. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I just blocked. I'm like, okay, cool, refund, block. Um, so hang on just a second. Um, so yeah, so I hate some of those situations. Ken said I just now completed a purchase auction that ended last night with an eBay seller with zero feedback. See how this goes. Um, thoughts and prayers. Good luck. Let's hope for the best. Ken, I always remember we all started at zero once, and that's true. That's everybody starts at zero, but yeah, it always kind of raises the eyebrows, like, how's this gonna go? Um, if it's a smaller purchase, like I'm really nervous if it's like a $50 and up. But if it's 20 bucks, 10 bucks, I'm not concerned. And usually um when I have those situations, they turn out good. But it's usually when I run into issues with zero and under 10 feedback, it's the issues I run into are when it's um, a higher dollar card, where it's probably not going to be paid. It's somebody using a burner account that's trying to manipulate the pricing. Um, yeah, and when I started at zero in 1999, eBay was the wild, wild west. At least now I know that if I don't get it, I'll get my money back. Yeah, absolutely. Bo, in cases like that, do you tell the buyer they are being blocked? I do not. Nope. I just block them. Because and here's the thing: if you do, you run the risk of there's a lot of crazy people out in the world. And now it's a very small portion of the general population, but there are a lot of people on eBay and in forums that will take it personally and try to get back and seek revenge. So it's kind of when I was in transportation, if we had issues arise, it was kind of like let sleeping dogs lie. And there's no sense in creating unnecessary drama, because they could be a loose cannon and be like, well, F you, buddy. Um, and create and they might have a burner account and they buy a dollar card just to leave you negative feedback. So that's why I try to stay away from all of that stuff. And it's an easy block and move on. Because there are people out there that will um, do dastardly deeds. Um, last night, so I got out of the house. First time I had like human contact outside of my wife and dog since like Christmas, and like the mailman and the cashier at Costco and the grocery store. So met up with three former coworkers, had some wings at the sports bar, a couple beers, and then we all went to Wisconsin, Iowa Big Ten game. It was 8 p.m. That's why I'm late, because it was a late game, and I got home late, and I got to bed late. I slept late. Um, and It was a great game. I grew up an Iowa Hawkeyes fan. I grew up in Illinois, but about 30 minutes from the Iowa border. Now, our local television stations in the Quad Cities, the NBC network, KWQC TV6, they carried the Iowa Hawkeyes. Um, None of the local stations carried at that time in the 80s and 90s carried the Illini. So I would watch Iowa Hawkeyes basketball. You know, they'd be on TV, and I didn't have cable growing up. We had cable like when I was really young, like 4 years old. I remember watching MTV. My favorite song was Sarah by Starship, and I called it the tornado song because like at the very end there's a tornado. Um, and so I remember watching like MTV as a 4 year old when Starship released that song. And then we moved. My dad built a house. We moved, and he's like, he would. he was a very interesting what he did like and didn't like were very interesting. He didn't put in a central air unit in the house. He built the house, but he didn't build it with central air. We had window units. He wanted to save money on cable, so we just had 4, 6, and 8. Those were the local, and Fox. We had 4 was CBS, 6 was NBC, 8 was ABC, and then we had PBS and Fox. That was it. We had those 5 channels. So growing up, I had, I'm not watching PBS as a kid. Fox was, usually like targeted my demographic. But like if any sports was on, I was watching sports, and I had very little to watch. So the Iowa Hawkeyes were on my TV. So I would watch the Hawkeye games. So Badgers are the big Wisconsin college team in Wisconsin. Does teams like River Falls mean anything? Or are they like lower tier? They're lower. They're like Division III. So there's I think 4 Division I teams in Wisconsin. I'm trying to think. So UW is the biggie. Marquette is like the second biggie, and then Wisconsin Green Bay and Wisconsin Milwaukee, and then like Whitewater, River Falls. I think La Crosse has a college. Stevens Point. Those are all Division III. And I think there's some other ones out there. Another D3 school is and then there's like the Midwest Conference schools, St. Norbert, Carroll, which is in Waukesha, Ripon, some of those that are in the Midwest Conference. What's up, Mark? My buddy Mark in Macomb. What is up? So went to the Badger game. The Badgers have a kid named Johnny Davis. I think he's from that Minnesota border area, either Eau Claire or La Crosse. I can't remember which one. But there's brothers, Johnny and Jordan. Jordan doesn't play. He got in like the last minute of the game, but Johnny Davis is a freaking stud. And so he's like all of a sudden he's like come into his own, where he was like going to be one of the top players on the team, but all of a sudden like 2 weeks ago, I love looking at mock drafts, NBA mock drafts, and any mock draft. I like looking at mock drafts for all in my opinion, the 3 major sports: baseball, football, basketball. Mark says, I rarely catch you live, but always watch on replay. I appreciate that. I'm gonna rip some basketball Panini Flux in a moment. So Johnny Davis, like he is, come on, I've been following the NBA mock drafts. Like he was not even sniffing the first round radar at the beginning of the college basketball season. Now all of a sudden, he's getting like first round love, and now he's snuck in as like a late end lottery pick in these mock drafts. Johnny Davis from Wisconsin, and he put on a show against Purdue. The Badgers knocked off Purdue. They were number 3 in the country. They beat them earlier this week. Iowa came in. Iowa's got a great team. Iowa has Keegan Murray, who has been a projected first-round pick, and he's also like a borderline lottery pick in these NBA mock drafts. So I was really excited to watch this game, watch these 2 guys go at it. It was a great game. It was kind of the final score doesn't really indicate, because there was like the garbage time at the end. The last few minutes, it was just kind of a free-for-all. Iowa still had a couple. They had Bohannon still in the game. They had somebody else that played a lot in the game, and Wisconsin had 5 like bench guys that never play. And it was kind of brutal because it was just out of sync. And you're watching some of these guys play like the first 90% of the game, and then all of a sudden the last 10% is just kind of like the air is out of the balloon. So the final score wasn't really an indication. It was like a 15 to 20 point game throughout until the end, and I think it might have been a 10 or 12 point differential in the end. I can't remember the final score, but pretty high scoring. I think it was like 87 to 76 or something like that, or 83 to 73. I can't remember, but great game. Keegan Murray, great player for Iowa. Johnny Davis, great player for Wisconsin. If you're into college basketball, watch those guys because they will be in the league. They'll be in the NBA next year, which stinks because I think they're both sophomores. So they're not going to be, playing down the street from me anymore. So that stinks. Jenny loves basketball for the fact you got to stay till the end. You don't know who will win till the end. Unlike football, basketball can sometimes be, and that's and even more so. College basketball is more of a possession game where every possession matters, and NBA is like in college basketball, especially I've kind of grown up around low possession teams. When I was at Western Illinois, Jim Molinari was the head coach. Like similar style as Bo Ryan when he coached here at Wisconsin. When Bo Ryan coached Wisconsin, the Badgers weren't scoring 80 points or more. It was a 50 to 40 game if it was a double-digit game. So I've always been around these low possession teams. But in the NBA, it's high possession. And so you can check in at the start of the fourth quarter. If it's a 15-point game at the start of the fourth quarter, say it's the Bucks and Bulls, the Bucks could be leading by 15 at the end of the third quarter going into the fourth quarter, and the Bulls can win by 10. Like the swings in the NBA is so crazy. And I think that's why it's taken me so long to get back into my NBA fandom, because I followed college basketball so much closer since the 90s, where I was used to these low possession games where you had to stay till the end. Or actually, you didn't have to stay till the end. It was like, okay, if it's a 15-point game, at halftime, it's like, okay, the team up by 15, very rarely does the other team come back because of the lower possessions. But in the NBA, it's like basically you can be down by 15, but it's still 0-0 because of how quick the possessions go. So, but I've come back around to the NBA and opening some basketball, which has been tough to come by the last few years. Kin's watching a little more NBA, can't get interested in college basketball though. I'm the opposite. I've always been, and it goes, and it's opposite for football and basketball. College football, I can't watch. College football, I follow, but I only look at the box scores. I can't watch college football, but I watch the NFL, and I'm into the NFL. When it comes to basketball, I struggle to follow the NBA games. I can't watch the NBA, but I love watching college basketball, which is weird that it's flipped like that. Jenny loves the Pacers, especially Sabonis. Mark got back into the Bulls when Derrick Rose was a rookie, then stayed around with the rise of Jimmy Butler, then stopped watching again when they were not so good. Yeah. So I was my basketball NBA fandom peaked in the 90s, but it wasn't with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. I was a Shaq guy. Like I loosely followed the NBA in my younger childhood with like the first run of the Bulls. So like the first couple championships, the first two, I was a Bulls fan. I rooted for the Bulls. Didn't really watch much NBA, and they weren't on broadcast TV. Every once in a while, there'd be like a game of the week that I would, be able to watch. But most of the games were on cable, which I didn't get. So I'd watch, the playoffs were always on. So I'd watch the Bulls. I rooted for the Bulls. But I was a baseball first kid. In football, football was actually my first love. The NFL was, my first love. And then Shaq comes along, and all of a sudden I'm a diehard, and I loved playing basketball. I mean, I would shoot out in my driveway for hours and hours. I loved basketball. And when Shaq came up and now Penny the next year, I had the starter jacket, Orlando Magic. I was big into the NBA. And then I just kind of, a few years later, it only lasted a few years. Then I got into wrestling. I was diehard wrestling, and then got back into baseball. Pacers are fun to watch. I like that they still use a big man, Miles Turner. I was all about the Bulls and Magic as a kid. Shaq, MJ, Pippen, Rodman. It was Shaq breaking backboards. I mean, you had that image of Shaq like rocking the rim, and oh man, like that was, and that's kind of what got me back into basketball cards about a year ago. Like I'm going through, what led me to go back into looking at basketball cards. So I would, up until, when I was buying collections and getting stuff on Craigslist, I'd buy these collections. basketball, football, hockey, all just, I would cherry pick, like if there were any Jordans or Shaqs, I would cherry pick those out. But some of the other stuff I just leave in the boxes. All of a sudden, I'm hearing Prism is like this huge thing. And I'd find like a Prism Silver Karl Malone that would sell for 30 or 40 bucks. I had like a Bradley Beal Prism Rookie that sold for 75. The Chris Middleton Silver Prism Rookie that sold for 300. Like now all of a sudden it's like, hey, I like basketball cards because I think for junk cards, and I've got a couple $1,000 worth of what I thought were commons. And then I'm going through, I'm looking through the 90s cards and the Upper Deck McDonald's Shaq card. And it's like, man, basketball cards were fun. I want to get back into basketball cards. Then it was hard to come by, that hard to find. But it brought me back to watching the NBA because now I'm sitting on some of these basketball rookie cards of guys that may have been late first round picks, don't get many minutes. And kind of speculating and watching the games like, I think Evan, is it Fournier of the Magic? He scored like 41 points last night. And it's like, I wonder if his rookie cards will spike today. And it used to be like that. It's not really in 2021, 2022. It's not, the basketball card market isn't like it was in 2018, 2019, 2020, where if Fournier goes off for 40 points, all of a sudden his card market is like, times 20, where now it's really not that case. It's just another blip on the radar. Ken starter jackets, Blackhawks and Patriots, was a Drew Bledsoe fan. I have an eBay search for a West Virginia one. Now, I had the Magic was the one that I rocked the most. I think I had an Alabama Crimson Tide. Sorry, Herman. I had an Alabama starter jacket. And I was the type of kid that would rock. And I wasn't a bandwagon fan. Like, I wasn't an Alabama fan. I just thought it was cool to wear like a different sport team every day. Like, I was a Cubs #1, Bears #1, and that's really it because I didn't watch hockey, and the NBA was kind of all over the place. I was a mainly Magic fan in the 90s, but I still have some jerseys. Like, I had two Bears jerseys. I had Eddie Kennison Rams jersey because I was a Rams fan. So I had like a Barkley Suns jersey. I had I had a bunch of North Carolina stuff because I was a Tar Heels fan for college basketball. I had a Yenka Dare New Jersey Nets. I wish I would have kept that one because that, very unique. How often do you see a Yenka Dare basketball jersey? I had a UMass #15, which was Lou Rowe, because I jumped on their bandwagon with Marcus Camby. So yeah, I loved rocking all kinds of different teams. Jenny used to play b-ball all the time, only about 4 broken arms and 6 broken fingers and 1 broken leg. Went to traveling ball in middle school. Uncle Rich, what's up? Good morning, Uncle Rich. So that's my basketball talk. Let's get to some ripping. So what was everyone's first player jersey? Oh, that's a good question. Ken's was Dan Marino. So my first player jersey was NBA. Haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah, Yenka Dare. I think he went to George Washington, and then was a first-round pick with the Nets. Don Mattingly for Mark. So mine was NBA because I got into jerseys in the early 90s, and it wasn't Shaq. It was actually, I think, my very first one that I ordered. My mom ordered it from J.C. Penney. Was Charles Barkley, and when it came, it didn't fit. So we returned it, and I got Sean Kemp instead. And I don't know, I don't remember being a Sean Kemp fan, but I wore the Sean Kemp jersey. I think it's my 7th grade school photo. I'm front and center rocking a Seattle Supersonics #40 Sean Kemp jersey to picture day. Apparently me and my mom and my dad didn't follow my school stuff, but apparently mom didn't remember it was school picture day. Because I think another year I rocked a Rashawn Salam Bears jersey to picture day. So half of my school pictures are me wearing sports jerseys. So I think Sean Kemp was the first one. The first one I ordered was Barkley. It didn't fit. I think it was too small. So then I returned it for Sean Kemp. And then it was all like I had a nickname, Jersey Boy, and it wasn't because I grew up in New Jersey. It was because I wore a sports jersey to school every day. Um, not a cool nickname, Jersey Boy. Sean Kemp, what could have been? Terry's was Dennis Rodman, the Bulls jersey. Yep, those were great. My buddy Scott had a Rodman jersey. He was a big Rodman fan. Um, so I bought these Panini Flux. I think I had a couple too many Bud Lights when I ordered these. Um, and it was a Twitter conversation about retail and how I had gone to Walmart and there was a ton of um, the Illusions basketball, Panini Chronicles basketball, and just a bunch of stuff. So somebody else went into the Target website and said, "Hey, here's a bunch more." I'm like looking around Target. It's like, man, I haven't ripped because what I've been buying in sealed wax, I haven't been ripping. What I've been buying is like Bowman, and I keep Bowman. And I'm just kind of sitting on it. I open some every once in a while, like on Christmas morning before everybody woke up. I'm like, hey, I want to open some cards. So I opened up a Bowman Chrome Mega Box, but I've got a bunch I'm just sitting on. So it's like, I need a rip. I need a rip. So I saw this. It's 2021 Panini Flux inaugural edition. Blaster boxes on Target. I think they're like $30, which is less than some of the Panini products as far as blaster boxes go. In hindsight, I probably, I think it's a waste of 90 bucks. I bought 3 blasters. I think it was a waste of 90 bucks. The package was delivered yesterday. I pick up the box. It's like super light. I'm like, what in the hell? Did they only send me one? So I open it up. Nope, there's 3 blaster boxes. There's only 18 cards per box. So you get 6 packs and there's only 3 cards per pack, but you do receive 2 blaster exclusive Mojo Prisms. Now I did open one blaster yesterday and I got some cool cards. I pulled like a base Giannis and then a Giannis insert. So those were cool. And then I did pull a couple of the exclusives. And actually, I think I pulled a Vernon Carey blue prism, blue Mojo prism. So, and he's a rookie. So that was a nice pull. So let's open up this blaster. So I bought 3. I've opened one. Here's the second one. What's the chat saying? I had a classmate that wore a different jersey every single day. Could have been Bo. Could have been. Yeah, I wore jerseys like junior high and like early high school. Then by like my sophomore or junior year, I shed the Jersey Boy gimmick. Sounds like a Seinfeld nickname, Jersey Boy. My 3 basketball were all about the same. Dan Marley, Antonio McDice, nice, and Dennis Rodman. So here you go. You've got Trae Young as the cover boy, 6 packs, 3 cards each. We've got those Mojo Prisms. Let's see. So first card, we've got Sterling Brown from the Houston Rockets. Where's he from? Doesn't say on the back. So it's got the back has, I don't give the backs enough credit. The back has like a Sterling Brown bio and then his stats from last season. I like the information. I want to know how tall. It doesn't even have his height. I want to know his hometown. I want to know where he went to school. None of that's on there. I don't like that. Bring back card backs. Theo Maledon, rookie card, plays for the Thunder, OKC Thunder. And the final card, we've got Chris Paul, the Phoenix Suns. He was actually the answer or the question, however you look at it, of Jeopardy the other day. And I wasn't paying close attention to the clue, and I said assists, and the answer was Chris Paul. The question, oh hey, the third card in here. It's going to go back. We've got that 70s card showing with us. Good morning. So we've got Malik Monk of the Charlotte Hornets. So these are logos, right? All B-ball is logos. Yeah, so Panini has the license for the NBA through the year 2025. So here we've got an insert, Deja Vu, Devin Vassell, and Brandon Ingram. See, Vassell plays for the Spurs, Ingram for the Pelicans. So I think that's just like an insert card. And look at here we've got. Now this is not the jersey style I had. I had the earlier. This was more of the mid 90s style. On the back it says Sean Kemp led victory over Charlotte on March 20th, 1994. So yeah, I think this jersey style that he's wearing, and that logo, I think that was more of a mid 90s for the Seattle Supersonics. I had the earlier version where it was just green with like what's that, the sky pole or whatever it's called. I want to know their favorite cereal. If they don't like cereal, then they can't be trusted. My favorite cereal is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's the GOAT of all cereals. However, I have been buying, I don't eat a lot of cereal, but what I have been buying lately, and I eat cereal kind of as a snack more than a breakfast, s'mores. S'mores cereal is another great cereal. So who is this? Andre Drummond of the LA Lakers. So we have not pulled a Prism, a Mojo yet. Yeah, that earlier Sonics, those were fantastic. Oh, hey, we've got a nice hit. LaMelo Ball rookie card. Is that does it say Prism on the back? Ah, damn, it's not a Prism. So LaMelo Ball base. I am going to sleeve that up. And the last card is Rashawn Holmes of the Sacramento Kings. So let's sleeve Mr. Ball. Leggings should be outlawed in the NBA. Did you see my brisket chili? Yeah, that looked good. That brisket, man, that looked really good. Leggings should be outlawed in the NBA. So here we've got for you Dallas guys, Kristaps Porzingis, Dallas Mavericks. Should be a Mojo Prism. We're down to 3 packs. Here we go. Markelle Fultz is some type of Mojo Prism. Orlando Magic. I think he's been battling some injuries lately. The last couple of years. I think he missed most of last season. I don't know if he's back this year. Eric Bledsoe of the Pelicans. We've got 2 packs. So one of these packs is going to have the second retail exclusive Mojo Prism. Again, I got these on Target. They're probably still on sale on Target. I don't think it's a very popular product. The blasters are $30, so it's a little more than it's a little more than a traditional blaster, a little less than the traditional Panini blaster. So Bam Adebayo of the Heat, that's some type of Prism. I don't know what, but it does have the Prism on the back. And we've got Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz. Going to deliver some up here, but wait a day, it's -24. Only -6 here. But let me tell you, walking from the parking lot to the arena last night, with that wind hitting your face, yeah, hard pass. Yeah, I would recommend not buying this product. It's over $1 per card, and the Space Needle, yeah, the Sky Pole, whatever. The Space Needle, I call it the Sky Pole. Yeah, -6 here. Going to the arena last night with that wind hitting you, and so on the way back, like leaving the arena, we have to wear masks inside. It's like I'm keeping my mask on because that wind hitting your face, and I think it was -4, and then it dropped. I think our low this morning was -10. I'm going to leave the mask on to protect my nose and most of my face, but then it fogged up my glasses and I couldn't see. And there's like when you walk from the Kohl Center is where the Badgers play basketball. So when you walk out of the Kohl Center and go down like this sidewalk, there's a point where there's like those like poles that stick out of the ground. I don't even know what those are called. Sidewalk poles, unlike the sky pole in Seattle. Sidewalk poles. I think it's to prevent like car traffic, because the sidewalk is wide enough for vehicles, and sometimes cars end up driving through some of these sidewalks. So I knew those stanchions. Okay. So I knew that those stanchions were coming up as I was walking down the sidewalk, and I'm just following other people, but you don't want to follow too close. And then all of a sudden they make a quick move, and then boom, I ride the stanchion. So It was it was an interesting walk, but I didn't want to take my mask off because then my nose was going to get freeze off. We got Hamadou Diallo. This is the last pack. Oh, and we've got so I think this box had 3 prisms. Or did it? We've got Robert Woodard, and this is a rookie blue. Oh, that's numbered to 99. Numbered 36 out of 99. So that's a nice hit. I have no idea. Bo on the pole, who's got the dollar bills. So I don't know like the market for these cards. Like, does a Giannis base card sell for $1 or does it sell for $5? What do these sell? So I'm gonna have to do some eBay research today. And then we've got a Jason Kidd, Phoenix Suns. So I pulled this was a great blaster. And it might be worth the $30 I paid for it. A LaMelo Ball rookie. I should sleeve up the Robert Woodard. This is a blue rookie numbered to 99 of Robert Woodard. Not one of the top rookies in the class, but still a nice pull. Bam Adebayo was a prism. I think it's just a base silver. Bam. I might just put that one in my dollar box for the card show tomorrow. Let's see what else. Oh, we pulled the Markelle Fultz. I think that's the Mojo prism. So we'll sleeve him up, and yeah. So I pulled the 3 prisms. Base Adebayo, Mojo Fultz, and the Mojo Blue Robert Woodard. So that was a fun break, fun show. A little late today. No show tomorrow because I'll be heading to the Rockford Card Show in Rockford, Illinois. But I'll go back. I'll be live at some point Sunday morning, probably between 8 and 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, and I'll review the Rockford Card Show. Let's see. Kin says it's probably been 2 years since I bought any current boxes other than Montgomery Club offers. The market for those cards left the hobby a few months ago. Yeah, the basketball market sucks. If the Flux is anything like Mosaic Baseball, not much open, you might get good money for stuff because singles demand greater than the supply. That's a good point. Good luck at the show. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'll tweet random stuff out from the show tomorrow. Another sellout show. They've got a waiting list. So excited to try my new strategy with more of a hybrid approach with dollar boxes and quarter boxes. See how that goes. So have a wonderful Friday. Stay warm if you're in the Midwest. Stay cool if you're in the South. I don't know what Texas is like, but I'm sure it's not negative. Well, it's negative. It's warmed up to -3, so not as bad, which means I'm not going anywhere today. I am not leaving the house. I had enough of the cold weather hit my face last night, so I'm going to stay in. I'm avoiding the post office, and then I'll have to suffer through traveling tomorrow morning. So have a great Friday, and we'll chat Sunday.